This is Creative Living, where we help you live your most creative life. I'm Jane Monzuris, and today we're talking interior design. More and more these days, people are opting to stay in their homes longer, which is why a little freshening up is needed. So we'll get some great advice from an interior designer. But first, here's what's coming up on the show. We'll check out the winter home of famous architect and designer Frank Lloyd Wright. How to reboot your wardrobe with thrift store finds and a little DIY. A vegan chef shows us how changing his diet improved his health and life. That and more on this episode of Creative Living. We're here at Deborah May Himes Interior Design, and I am with Deborah May Himes to talk all about hiring an interior designer. Deborah, you are a true professional with over 30 years of experience.
Yes.
Why should we hire an interior designer?
Well, an interior designer is an important team member for all projects, but especially these larger projects. So I am usually called in the beginning to be part of the team with the homeowner, the architect, the builder, and we sit with the client from the very beginning. And the reason why that's important is because then all of us hear what the client wants, their issues, preferences, visions for designs, things that they don't want.
Some people are staying in their homes a little bit longer, so they're not doing a home from the ground up. They're doing a little bit of remodeling here, a little bit of freshening up here.
Right.
Is there anything too basic that for them to call you for?
No. Anytime a homeowner is not comfortable with something, they need to call a professional. You know, people live with things, especially if they're remodeling, for so long, and they don't even see what needs to be done. Now, I'm not one of those that'll say this has to go, this has to go. I look at how we can maybe repurpose furniture or how we can just liven the space up, update it, because if it's updated, then they can sell it.
Talk about the types of projects. You know, give me a laundry list of projects that someone would call and ask about.
Oh, they can do anything from, I want to do a bathroom remodel, what do I do with the space? What do I do for finishes? And I need to paint the house. To how do I update this room because it looks tired? Well, you know, there are ways we can do it depending on their budget, how far they want to go. If they just want to change out pillows and accessories, we can do that.
What's the first step to hiring a reputable interior designer?
Well, I think that you need to interview designers because all of us have different ways that we do our projects. Look at how long they've been in business. So kind of just get a good feel of what that designer's all about.
Deborah, if people are just looking to freshen up their home, what's the best place for them to start?
Sometimes it's just decluttering it, just taking out the clutter, it's freshening up with paint. It can be maybe adding an area rug under a sofa. It can be something that just makes them happy to be there again. But I think that lots of times when we live in a space forever, we just don't see it. And then we start thinking about updating it, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's been a while. And so that's time to call the professional and help them.
Deborah, great information. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Jane.
Frank Lloyd Wright is one of the greatest architects of all time. So let's head to Taliesin West to see how they're celebrating his 150th birthday.
Yeah, so Frank Lloyd Wright's 150th birthday was back on June 8th, and we've been celebrating the whole year and will continue up until his next birthday. We really think the best way to celebrate Frank Lloyd Wright's birthday is to experience his work and his visionary creations. So we created a website. You can find it at our website, franklloydwright.org, where you can find out where a Frank Lloyd Wright property is near you and what events are happening to celebrate. And we really just encourage people to find a Frank Lloyd Wright property, go visit, take a tour, and get a true experience of the brilliance of Frank Lloyd Wright. Well, when you think about it, this is a man who was born just a couple years after the Civil War ended, and his life spanned all the way through the space age. And this was a person who was a visionary the entire time. He was always looking forward. He created innovations that maybe we take for granted today, but when you look at it, they date back all the way to Frank Lloyd Wright's life. So he really defined how we build and how we live in America in a way that we get to experience the world around us. Frank Lloyd Wright was so far ahead of his time that only now is our technology really catching up to his brain. So there are a lot of ideas that he had that we really couldn't implement in his lifetime. And you look at a lot of his designs and you would be surprised at the year that they were created. They feel modern, they feel contemporary. They continue to push the line and challenge us to think about, how we live and how we build in different ways. He was a revolutionary not just in his lifetime, he continues to revolutionize how we build and live today. So the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, it was started by Frank Lloyd Wright himself back in 1940 and has continued all the way through today where, we really are stewards of Frank Lloyd Wright's life, work, and legacy. And we really take a lot of pride in making sure that we're communicating with the world around us the brilliance of Frank Lloyd Wright, why he continues to be relevant today, and how he continues to make an impact on how we build and live in America.
One of the great tools to help combine colors when designing is called a color wheel. The colors that are on opposite sides of the wheel are called complementary colors, and they go well together, like orange and blue. Stick around, we've got a lot more coming up on Creative Living. We'll show you how one woman is creating unique fabric by using onion skins and tree bark. And a vegan chef shares how you can go meatless a few times a week without sacrificing flavor. I met a fiber artist who gutted an entire apartment and turned it into a craft room, and now she's turning out some pretty unique fabric using her own natural dyeing technique. Check out this month's Craft Room Crash. Craft Room Crash, and I'm outside DIYer Lydia Crespo's house. Now, she's a fiber artist who prefers to work with onion skins and tree bark. That's interesting. Let's go crash her craft room and find out what Lydia is making today. Hey Jane, come on in. Come on in. Whoa. So this is like this is the hub, and this is some of your finished projects right here.
Yeah, yeah. I call myself a surface designer, and I specifically am working with natural dyes and screen printing ink. So these are some of the pieces that I've either printed or I've naturally dyed. This is done with a madder root. A natural dye is anything coming from a tree bark or a root or a leaf. Now this is where I'm gonna do all of my dyeing. Well, there's paint on the walls, there's paint on the floor, there's dye on the walls and on the floor as well.
It literally is like a glitter bomb.
It is.
Exploded in here.
If my craft room is clean, it means I'm not working, so it's always dirty.
I'm speechless. I have nothing more to say except that let's get started. So we're using onion skins.
Correct.
You like
the red ones specifically. And if you bring it up to just under a boil, all of the pigment just leaches right out of the skins and into the water. It's a lot more unexpected and fun, and and it's easy to find, right, at your grocery store, and you know what you're gonna get. So I've made quite a few friends as far as like the stock people there.
It's already coming. Look at the color.
I know. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to use just a teeny bit of this. This is going to sadden the color. Great. All right, and then I'm just gonna give it a little stir here.
Oh wait, this is exciting.
Do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, please.
Okay, what do I do?
All right, just dunk it in, and then I'm just gonna swirl it around
Bye-bye,
a little bit.
piece
Yeah.
of silk.
So I think we're just about there.
It's black.
Look at that. You think it's black, but this will dry about 6 to 7 shades lighter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we are in a new space with some dry fabric.
That's right. I put some screen printing ink in this bottle.
Are you spraying this direction?
I am, so I think you should.
No, I'm out of here. I'm already wearing some gold pants. I'm good. I don't need
No more
speckles.
gold? Okay,
I'll hide
all right.
behind you. Now I know why that wall looks like it looks.
Right, yeah, because when I miss.
Okay, this is the finished product.
This is the
After
finished
all
product.
of that work, it's finished.
Finally, right?
This is so pretty. Thank you so much for having us in your craft room.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming to my craft apartment.
Thanks so much to Lydia. Now we all know the secret behind making natural dyes. And that is what Lydia is doing in her craft room. What are you doing in your craft room? I'll see you next time. This is so cool.
Good. I'm glad you like
How
it.
to do that. So you think going vegan is all about eating tofu and drinking wheatgrass? Well, get ready to change your mind after you see how it changed this chef's life.
I'm Jason Weirich. I'm the executive chef of The Vegan Taste and cookbook author of Vegan Mexico, Vegan Tacos, and co-author of 21 Day Weight Loss Kickstart. I was fat and diabetic. I started learning how to cook right out of college, so I had my first great meal, and I was broke. I couldn't afford to go spend 20 bucks at this great Egyptian restaurant I was eating at in Fort Worth, and so I started learning how to cook, but what I was learning was all this stuff that was really just making me fatter and sicker. So by the time I was in my mid-20s, I became diabetic. I weighed about 330 pounds. I mean, I wore these huge brown sweaters and I looked like Jabba the Hutt with a human head. And when I got diagnosed with diabetes, I was like, I gotta do something because this physician's saying I have to take medication for the rest of my life, and I'm 27. It was insane. So I just found a healthy whole foods way of eating, no animal products or anything like that, and I was like, sure, I'll do it. And I lost 120 pounds and it cured my diabetes in 8 months. And actually the symptoms I had went away in 3 months, and I had them bad. I was like falling asleep on the freeway. I was sleeping 10 hours. My eyesight was failing, and I used to have great eyesight. And all that stuff went away in just a few months. It was amazing. And basically I had a soulless job as a director of marketing for a tech firm. And I knew I had to do something else, so I became a vegan chef and trained myself so I could go out and basically help other people eat great food, because eating great food is the key to staying on a healthy lifestyle. When I went vegan, I was like, man, what am I going to eat? I got to learn how to make food for myself now. And you can't make some burger that you know is going to make a vegan happy, but everyone else is going to be like, ah, it's crazy vegan food. Or you can't make stuff like that. You have to make stuff that still looks appealing and feels hearty and leaves someone satisfied. I mean, everybody wants enchiladas, but when they can see a beautiful plate of enchiladas where there's not necessarily a cheese in it, but there's it's smothered in a pipián verde, which is this pepita green salsa mix, and it's got that creaminess and everything, and it looks appealing, people go for that. They stop caring about the cheese so much. Before, when I was a marketing director, it was just about making money, and now it's about helping people. It's like every time I do that, I take someone through that transformation that I went through, and I get to relive that moment of epiphany. And then when I see that in their eyes and go through the change in a way again with them, it's really moving. Like when I have a family that comes up and they're crying because they're not going to go to the hospital and they think they can do this for the rest of their lives. And I know that I saved someone. That's amazing.
Bedrooms need to be tranquil so you can get a peaceful night's sleep. So when choosing your color scheme, go for neutrals or soothing blue tones. Coming up, get ready for tax season with these easy tips from our expert. And I'll teach you how to make your own hair scrunchies. Tired of your wardrobe? Well, a trip to the thrift store can help. I'll show you how a few DIY pieces can give your department store clothes a fashionable twist. Fashion is so fun, but it's always changing. So with a little inspiration and a few DIY tricks, you can refashion thrift store clothing and pair it perfectly with a ready-to-wear wardrobe. So today I'm at Bloomingdale's checking out all the styles and pairing each look with one refashioned item from the thrift store. Now, things you can find at the thrift store are neckties, sweatshirts, old blouses, pants, and skirts, and they can all have a new life. First, those old neckties are a men's staple, but they can be refashioned into a trendy skirt for women's wear. The tie skirt here uses zippers for fashion over function and is paired with a ruffled blouse and a red sweater and a layered look for the perfect outfit. Next, the athleisure look is all over the runways this season, so by adding the stripe idea from the jogging pants down the sides of these thrift store trousers is a really easy update. You just open up the side seams to add the stripe, then pair them with the trendy off-the-shoulder metallic blouse to finish the look. And continuing the athleisure trend, this distressed top was once a basic men's plain gray sweatshirt. You're gonna use a bleach bath to create the distressed look, add your zipper down the back, and think of it as wearable art. You can elevate this look by adding the always on trend leather pant. Vintage men's tuxedo shirts are just so amazing, you almost have to give them a new life. It's easy when you simply take in the sides to create a fitted blouse for today's women. Then to make it ready to wear, pair that tuxedo shirt with the trendy boyfriend blazer and tapestry shorts, and it takes this style from day to night. And we all know stylists are always looking for something to put over the shoulders for warmth and fashion. So by giving an old skirt a totally new purpose, you can turn it into a capelet to fit any outfit. Here it's paired with a closet staple, that little black dress. Now it's high fashion all night long. Now ruffles are everywhere this season. It's just a really great way to turn a basic tee into something more fun and trendy. With this outfit, ruffles were added to the sleeve of an old t-shirt and paired with a ready-to-wear skinny checked pant. And yes, we all have those jeans that have seen better days, but we just can't seem to part with them, right? Well, you can easily update your denim by adding a piece of fancy fabric to the bottom, and now these jeans are high style and partnered with an on-trend pleated blouse and fur vest. Another great idea, your favorite flannel doesn't just have to be a weekend throw-on piece. You can add a lot of character to it with a simple update. You can just add your favorite rock t-shirt image to the back. It's a casual look that can be elevated with a ready-to-wear tuxedo pant. So you see, thrift really is hip when you update the style and pair it with ready-to-wear clothing. And remember, if you can't sew, take your inspiration to the neighbor with a sewing machine, or even to the seamstress down the street. So go be your own DIY designer. Get inspired and live a fashion-forward life. Tax season is here, and our expert shares what you need to know before you file.
Hi, I'm Teresa Baer. I'm a CPA and a certified financial planner and an investment advisor representative for Brookstone Capital Management. Today, we're going to talk about getting ready for tax time. If you want to make sure that you don't get caught unexpected during tax time, then you can estimate your taxes using the prior year return and looking at your W-2, your check stub, to make sure that you're having enough withheld throughout the year. One thing that you can do is get all your documents together, get everything ready for your tax preparer. You can gather all of your third-party documents that you've received in the mail in one place, and then start making a list of your documentation that you pull from your own records. If your CPA has given you an itemizer, you can follow through with that and fill that out for the CPA. And you don't need to give your CPA every single receipt that you have. Just write down the number. He will trust you. One of the things that we do when we try and train our clients is to give us the least amount of paper as possible. Sometimes people will write down things on a summary sheet and then also give us the 1099s. You don't need to do that because that just means that we have to verify two sources. Another thing is that if you write down a number, we don't need the receipts to back it up. Finally, although your tax preparer isn't an auditor for the IRS, we don't have to verify all the numbers, we also aren't a priest. So please leave your tax confessions at home. If you tell your CPA about some income that you're not planning to report, they may just send you down the street because we have a legal obligation to report all your income, and you do too. With respect to extensions, they are an extension of the time it is to file your return. They aren't an extension of time to pay. So if you find yourself on the short end of April 15th to filing deadlines, you can file an extension. Be sure and write a check to the tax that you think you might owe on April 15th. Definitely either file a return or file an extension because there are penalties for failure to file that you could be assessed if you don't file either a return or an extension. Hopefully these tips are going to help you with your taxes both now and in the future.
Fresh flowers are an easy way to spruce up a room, but instead of just using glass vases, use metal containers or pottery ones. And ladies, if you haven't heard, the scrunchie is back. We'll talk about this 90s fashion trend next. In college, I used to make my own hair scrunchies, and like everything in fashion, scrunchies are back in style. So today I'm going to show you how you can make your very own scrunchies. So let's get started. You'll need cotton fabric. I like to use quilting material, elastic, and a sewing machine. First, cut your fabric 40 inches long and 4 inches wide. You can make a fuller scrunchie the wider you make the fabric, or a thinner one the less wide you go. Measure your elastic about 12 inches or smaller depending on how tight you want your scrunchie to be. First, turn the raw edges of the ends in and sew in place. Next, with the right sides of fabric together, sew the long side of the fabric and turn it right side out. With the safety pin connected to the elastic, thread it through the tube of fabric, making sure one end stays outside the outer edge and the other end makes it through the other side. And sew the two ends of elastic together. Now, sew the opening edges closed with the top seam. Don't forget to trim your elastic. And there you have it, a flashback scrunchie for an updated look. I want to thank Deborah for all of her great advice about hiring an interior designer. Now, before we go, here's a great tip if you're on a budget. Head to a thrift store or flea market and look for these 3 things. First, find some inexpensive pillows at the thrift store, then buy some fabric you like and recover them. Next, look for a chest of drawers or maybe a table that's in need of a little TLC. You can paint it or stain it and have a cool new statement piece for a lot less cash. Finally, get frames. Old frames can be restained or painted or leave them as is. You can add your own artwork or even a mirror for instant decor items. Thanks so much for joining us here on Creative Living. I'm Jane Manzuris, and I'll see you next time.